The sentence hit me like a blindside blow. I stopped mid-sip, the lukewarm coffee stinging my throat as I looked at her from across the kitchen table. Her expression was peaceful, almost unnervingly calm, like she was mentioning something trivial, something as simple as running out for groceries. But this was an earthquake. "I'm going on a date with my coworker," she repeated, as if saying it again would make it blend into the ordinary. Her eyes, usually bright and warm, looked distant, like the line had been memorized in advance. She didn't react when I stayed silent. She didn't wait for shock, fury, or confusion. She simply carried on, as though she had rehearsed this moment word for word. My chest tightened. My heart clenched. A cold heaviness settled in the place it always did when life suddenly stopped making sense. I couldn't even trust my own hearing. My wife, the woman I'd married 5 years ago, the person I believed stood with me as a team, the one I'd entrusted with the softest parts of who I am, was saying this. I put my mug down, the sound unnervingly loud in our small kitchen. My hand trembled. You're serious?" She nodded, slow and controlled. "Yes. Just dinner. Just a date." I repeated, the phrase tasting bitter on my tongue. Just a date. Her mouth tightened to a thin line. "Don't turn this into something dramatic. It's work-related. He's been helping me with the Henderson project, and we thought it would be nice to talk outside the office." Her calmness, her casualness, was the sharpest cut of all. The betrayal wasn't only the choice. It was the way she spoke about it, like I was expected to react reasonably, like I was supposed to nod, accept, and trust without blinking. I couldn't force words out. Heat flooded my face, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. Everything shrank down to that one word echoing through my head: betrayal. It repeated like a relentless drum. I inhaled deeply, trying to steady myself, though logic felt like a friend who had abandoned me right when I needed it most. Slowly, I slid a sheet of paper toward her. The pen rested beside it. "Perfect," I said quietly, my voice steady but weighted. "Then sign this." Her brow creased. "Sign what?" I tapped the page. The words on it were sharp enough to cut. "Separation agreement. Temporary terms pending your return." Her calm slipped, only for a heartbeat. A blink, a tight swallow. Then she recomposed herself with that same practiced poise, as if even this reaction had been anticipated. "You're serious?" she asked, half stunned, half amused. "I've never been more serious," I answered, though the tremor in my chest betrayed me. "Go have your dinner. Talk to him. And we'll talk afterward. If you come back." The silence that followed pressed against my lungs. Eventually she picked up the pen. Her fingers brushed mine, and for a moment a painful longing stabbed through me, the memory of the woman I thought I knew. But the pen felt heavy in her hand. Her signing wasn't just ink on a line. It was the breaking of everything I believed we were. That evening, she left with a kiss on my cheek colder than ice. Not cruel, just attached. I watched her walk out the door, her heels tapping against the hardwood floor, each step carving itself into my memory. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined her laughing across a restaurant table, leaning in toward him, bathed in soft lighting. I imagined the conversation I wasn't invited to, the connection she sought somewhere else. Grief and fury waged war inside me. I wanted to shout. I wanted to plead. I wanted to vanish. Days dragged by. Long, empty, endless. I didn't text her. Didn't call. Didn't check messages. The temporary separation agreement, my desperate, symbolic shield, sat on the counter, completed and signed by her. A constant reminder of how far apart we'd drifted. Then the messages started coming, short, simple, deceptively harmless. "Had a great evening. Thanks for dinner." My hands trembled as I read them. My stomach twisted. Every cheerful word felt like it belonged to another man. I tried to remind myself that it was just a date. I tried to be rational, to cling to the idea that this was temporary, that she'd eventually sit down and explain. But logic drowned beneath the steady weight of betrayal. A week later, I couldn't stand it anymore. I drove to her office, convincing myself it was for clarity, for truth, for closure. I needed to see her. I needed to confront whatever she had been hiding behind that eerie calm. She greeted me with a smile that should have felt familiar. Once, that smile could undo me. Now it felt foreign, an imitation worn for strangers. "Hey," she said lightly. "What's going on?" "Why?" I blurted out, the ache inside me spilling over. "Why go on a date? Why him?" She tilted her head, her expression almost amused. "Why not? You didn't object, did you?" Her words sliced deeper than any lie. "I didn't give you permission," I choked out. I froze because I couldn't believe you'd even say something like that. Something softened in her eyes, a brief glimpse of the woman I had loved. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted space. Some honesty about what we're feeling." Space. I laughed bitterly. "That's what you call this? You rename betrayal and think it changes anything." She sighed, her polished calm finally cracking. "I don't know what to call it. I just know that sometimes I feel trapped, like we're just existing side by side. And he makes me feel seen, heard." Her confession burned through me like acid. I wanted to rage, to break something, to make sense of every moment that led us here. But all that escaped me was something softer, something far more devastating. "And you can't feel that with me?" She didn't reply. She couldn't. I left her office hollow, splintered, but strangely awake. The world felt sharper, colder. The illusion I'd been living in had finally shattered. I didn't know if she'd return. I didn't know if we could recover. All I had left was the truth, raw, painful, unfiltered, her longing for something else and my heartbreak. Weeks slipped into months. We talked, but the conversations were heavy, weighted with suspicion, sorrow, and the unspoken hurt between us. She still worked closely with him, though now with a nervousness I hadn't seen before. I couldn't forget what she'd done. I couldn't forgive how casually she had done it. One evening, after an exhausting day, she came home quietly. She moved differently, timid, hesitant. She avoided meeting my eyes, sitting across from me at the dinner table. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. "I need to tell you something," she finally said, her voice trembling. "That night, the date, it wasn't what you think. I didn't sleep with him. It was only dinner. Only talking. I lied about some details because I was ashamed. But I never crossed that line physically." I stared at her, my heart torn between relief and pain. Relief that my darkest fear hadn't unfolded. Pain because the emotional betrayal, the secrecy, the longing for someone else, was real enough to destroy us. "I wanted to be honest," she continued, tears welling. "I was wrong. I don't know how to fix this, or if it can be fixed, but I don't want to lose you." I looked at her then, really looked, and for the first time in months saw the vulnerable person behind the mask she'd been wearing. I saw regret, fear, longing, and a loneliness that mirrored mine.